So I've been listening to more about the Diddy case, and I've just been kind of more motivated to just say things because I have quite strong opinions on certain things, which is I find it horrible how people are talking about sex trafficking and then relating sex trafficking to simply just getting prostitutes from different states and getting them to work in other states. You know, sex trafficking for me is a very serious crime because I see that as being like turning humans into slaves and dragging them across state lines against their will, and getting them to do things against their will, with people they don't want to, and underpaying them or not paying them at all, or saying that we bought you, hence you can only be free if you pay up, if we make lots of money out of you. You know, that for me is sex trafficking. And so I hate how sex trafficking keeps being brought up, and yet the only real crime seems to be getting male prostitutes from one state to another, or maybe even female prostitutes. I don't know which ones. If you have a prostitute that you sleep with in Florida, and you want to invite her to a holiday and you pay for the flight, and she comes by her own free will, and you charge for services in a different state, what is the crime there? I don't understand why would anyone see that as being a crime. I'm confused as to why that would be crime. Part of having a good law system is knowing the difference between right and wrong. It's bad to go to a state, lock someone in your boot, drag them across to a different state, and then force them to have sex with people. That is a crime because it's against someone's will. But if there's prostitutes that are working as prostitutes, and you just pay for their flight and say, we'll give you a free flight, free accommodation, free this, free that, and we'll buy you a pair of shoes or whatever, and you'll have sex for a certain amount, and okay, maybe it turns into something you don't really want it to be. Maybe you do end up taking a bit too much drugs and get abused, and that's wrong, and you can kind of claim that that's a crime because that's you being taken advantage of. But you can't claim that that's trafficking when the deal was arranged beforehand, when the people came of their free will, when the people came under the acknowledgement that their flight was being paid for, or this was being paid for, or you know. So I hate how they seem to be blurring the line between trafficking and just giving a prostitute work in a different state. One's a crime and one's not a crime, so can you please stop referring to them as being the same thing? You know, I feel like there's a lot of, you know, crime. Murdering someone is a terrible thing, and you should get a long sentence for it. But if you're murdering someone who has a death wish, who has made many attempts to die, or who just fantasize about being with Jesus and being in heaven, and if you trying to kill them is something the next day that they'll describe as being the greatest day of their life because of all the delusions of getting into heaven that they've had, you know, that's a different type of you've inflicted a different amount of suffering on that person because you haven't really inflicted that much suffering. And I also heard one person was trying to sue Diddy for £100 million for one night of sex. No prostitute in the world is worth one night of sex, even if it was unconsensual. To think that much amount is, and if it wasn't non-consensual, why was it not reported to the police the next day? I'm confused about this Diddy case, and you know, I don't want to support him because like with all cases, you know, some of these claims might be bogus and some of them might be more there might be more truth to them. I'm confused about the Cassie thing because she came up with this story 2 weeks after I called her the Devil's Tease, and the Devil's Tease would make up some sort of story like this. So I feel like I have reason to believe that the story is not true. But now that it's being taken to the next stage and he's actually been arrested, and according to the reports, the majority of the claims seems to be calling Cassie the victim, and she seems to be the only victim in this story. So I'm confused about that. Why is she the only victim when there's supposed to be multiple people? Why are these multiple people claiming millions of pounds for damage that was probably very minimal? You know, especially if you're drugged, you know, it's horrible, but technically if you're drugged and you don't remember what happened, then it's not really going to cause you huge amounts of harm. It's just that horrible feeling of not knowing what happened. If you've come out of it and you've got a bunch of AIDS or diseases that are going to affect the rest of your life, then that's terrible. If there's film recording of it and you've got people talking to you, oh, I saw that footage of you being R-worded or something, that's a horrible, horrible thing to experience. So, these are all the reasons why someone would suffer. And I just think crime should be based not on the crime, but on the amount of suffering that a person is caused from the crime. And with this case, I'm not hearing Cassie's side. I don't trust words. I don't trust papers. So I can't rely or I can't feel anything from the paper. It's a report. I didn't really read it, but I've had people read sections of it, and I'm confused because it came out straight after I called her the devil's tease, and it felt like there was some link there. And as for the other people, I feel like a lot of them just want money, and I don't get bad vibes from Diddy. I think he's mad, and if he really does have 1,000 bottles of baby oil in his home, I think things like that would actually be reason for why he should claim insanity. I don't know anyone. I'm a masseuse, or was a masseuse, and I never had more than probably about, I think once I found a really good deal on the baby oil, so I had probably about 20 bottles of baby oil. That's like the most I've ever had. But yeah, he's not a masseuse and he's got 1,000. That's kind of, to me, sounds like someone who's got like a wanking addiction or something. Oh, I have this wanking addiction, oh, I need all this baby oil because I want to wank all day every day. And yeah, that's if he is someone who wanks for like hours at a time every day, I can imagine that he does have a mental illness, and he should actually claim insanity, and he should say that he's got the fact that he's got 1,000 bottles of baby oil isn't proof that he was planning on abusing thousands of people. No, it could be proof that he's just got some sort of wanking obsession, because that's I can't imagine why you would want 1,000 bottles, or maybe a masseuse. Maybe he goes sees lots of masseuses and he has lots of bottles because he thinks that he's going to be being massaged by a person every single day or something. And I don't know why I wouldn't get through 1,000 bottles in my lifetime. Like that's quite serious. Unless he's planning on making a music video and pouring all the oil into some sort of bathtub and soaking in the oil. I mean, maybe he was planning on making like a bathtub full of baby oil, which is a complete waste of baby oil. But yeah, I think it pushes to the idea that he's actually got a mental illness. And I think he is mentally ill, yes. And I think I am seeing a negative side, a side that I probably might have missed before, which I think he can get very aggressive and very violent. I mean, I'm seeing it being repetitively talked about, and I feel like it's more believable. With Andrew Tate, it's easy to believe that he's angry and aggressive. Why? Because you just need to listen to him in any of his videos, and you can see that aggression coming across. And with Diddy, you don't really see it. I mean, you do a little bit, but it's far more hidden, mixed with a bit of mental illness. I think is some things he says, just like, I don't know, his promotion of God the Father for me always seemed like mental illness. But yeah, I don't really know what to say, because maybe the whole story is all just made up, and maybe this is all just people. I mean, I don't know who's behind this, and I don't really know what's going on, but I know there's a lot of money can be made off stories, and because I also feel like the story with that 70-year-old lady and the multiple rape victims who was sleeping with her when unconscious, I just feel like if it was just small, and if it was just happens every now and then, it's believable. But the fact that there's like supposed to be like 80, and the husband has just been living with this secret for like 10 years, I feel like it's just, and the lady's not even, she's not particularly attractive, and most of the guys who were seen in that queue were very young, and it just felt a bit like, is this real? Like, would people really want to have sex with an unconscious lady who's like 20 years older than them? And like I know people are sick, but are they really this sick? I mean, maybe I'm just being stupid for not believing that these things could be true, because they just sound so ridiculous that it's just like, this isn't true. But I'm questioning whether or not that's a true story. And then for Diddy's story to come out straight after that story, I'm now questioning, are there two stories going around that are all just false, just to get people's views? But I don't know. I don't know. With Diddy, it's mildly believable that he can be aggressive and violent, and it's definitely what type of drug is he drugging people with? I don't know. But I don't know. I know that people have known that I'm God for 11 years. And if he's really this big up in the music industry, how come not one person has told him, hey, Christ is here? You know, it's believable that no one has told him because maybe they didn't like him or something. But I'm pretty sure Beyonce knew, and if Beyonce's close with Jay-Z, I think Jay-Z must know, and if Jay-Z's close to Diddy, then why would Diddy not pass it on? In which case, why would he be doing this if he knows that actually we're living in the Matrix and every second of the day he's been monitored and watched, and justice will be served? So I feel like I have too many questions about who knows what. Like, I know that I'm Christ. I know that there's thousands of people who know. But I don't actually know it's thousands. It could just be hundreds. I'm not too sure who knows. And therefore I feel like I'm just caught up in a whole bunch of uncertainty on who knows and who doesn't. And if thousands of people know, then surely Diddy would know. And if Diddy's known, then surely he wouldn't be mistreating women in the way that the ledgers are claimed, unless of course this is all talking about 10 years ago. I know stuff which happened with Cassie was 10 years ago, was a long time ago. But yeah, if that was the case, then why didn't she come forward? If the reason why she didn't come forward is because she didn't want to damage Diddy's brand because she's making money off it. You know, how much money has she made off the music industry in the last 10 years? Maybe if Diddy would have gone to prison 10 years ago, maybe she wouldn't have been able to make this much money. So maybe the benefits of her not reporting the claim has already been, has already been felt. You know, people do things for a reason. If a crime is committed on someone, that person is aware that it is a crime, that it is wrong, and that she has the right to report it, but chooses not to. You know, there's a reason why. You could just say, oh, she was scared, but that's not a reason. She's married, she got kids. You know, she would have no reason to be scared. Plus, if this guy gets put in prison, then it's not going to be a threat. But if part of the reason why she didn't do that is because she wanted her music to continue selling, if you know something terrible about someone, but if that same person is giving you or helping you with your career, you face the abuse, and to say that that person should still be punished for something when technically, like I'm Christ, I'm the reason why humans exist, and it's awful that I've been put through 10 years, 11 years of not knowing what people are doing behind my back, linking to songs daily, knowing that they're spiritually connecting to me, knowing that they probably know and yet are all refusing to help me. You know, this is a horrible thing that I'm going through, but my higher self is God, and because of the suffering that I'm going through, my higher self can time travel, and I'm not benefiting anything. My life has not benefited anything. But if my higher self can time travel, then she can go into any house, she can go into any swimming pool, or any, she can do. She has a huge amount of power because of what I'm going through, and it's similar to that. If someone is in a relationship with someone who's super wealthy or super famous or super rich, they might be going through lots of horrible times and horrible situations. But if them going through these horrible situations allows them to have career, allows them to make money for 10 years, they can't just say, okay, now it's 10 years over, I've made all the money I can make out of this guy and my career that I've got from him, and now I'm just going to send him to prison because of something he did 10 years ago. I mean, if the reason why she stayed silent for so long was so that the secrets can remain secret, so that he can continue working and promoting her, or promoting the music, or promoting the songs. If he's got royalties, he's making money, she's making money. It's not good that suffering happens, but if someone chooses to stay silent for such a long time, they choose to stay silent for a reason, and if he has made someone more drunk than they wanted to be with the hope of having sex or whatever, there might have also been other things that he was doing. Maybe he was buying them nice present, maybe he was buying her nice jewelry, nice this, or things that she might have forgotten. Did he take her out to nice restaurants and buy lots of stuff and give her a much better lifestyle, and she was offering stuff not just for whatever reason, but for a whole bunch of reasons that she's now completely forgotten because it's such a long time. And if you try and remember the details about why you like someone, sometimes you can't remember it, but back then you could remember it, and back then you wouldn't report the crimes. Why? Because things are in balance. You get the bad with the good. The bad is this, the good is this, and sometimes the worse the bad is. So if the bad is this much but the good is also this much, then that would be a reason not to say things. And so yeah, I am very confused with this Diddy case, because some of them seem to be very, very old crimes, and that there is new ones, but I'm confused about like if prostitutes want to work as a prostitute and you say, hey, come to Florida and I can give you work, that should not count as a crime. If you want to call it trafficking, fine, but why is trafficking a crime if it's just giving people the work that they want to get, and also giving them a holiday to go away? So I'm confused about this, and I don't, it sounds very, very bad how it is, but I don't feel a need to support Diddy because I don't know the situation, but I feel like there's two sides of everything. If everything that they were saying, they were talking about, say if they changed the name from Diddy to Andrew Tate, and if everything they're saying, I would definitely be seeing things from a negative perspective, but I think the main reason why is because Andrew Tate just comes off as such an angry, vile person, and Diddy doesn't come off as an angry, vile person. He probably has madness in him and a bit of secrets, but I can't help but think that there's a lot of things that don't seem right with this, and I don't know, but I feel like I linked to his story far more, and I'm wanting for people to talk to me and to put me in a nice house, and I keep saying that over and over again, and I'm wondering if his arrest is a signal to the soon arrest of me soon. But I'm hoping that that this arrest would happen, and then I can have a nice big house and people to talk to about the next stage, and how to get people to test people, and on what they think is real and what is not real. And I myself would like to know details about, when you hear a case and you feel like you're hearing so much, but you're not hearing so much because you're only hearing it from the prosecutors and you're not really hearing it from the victims, and the victims are not actually coming forward. You're thinking, why are they not coming forward? Why are they not saying things? And then that just, although in the Andrew Tate scenario there wasn't really that, but I saw there was two or three victims in in that panorama film that I watched, but they didn't. It's my hamster. They weren't coming forward. Another thing. Anyway, gotta go.